Let's take a few minutes to talk about the difference between the four categories of agent misbehavior regarding material facts. What do I mean by that? What are those four combinations? I'm talking about willful misrepresentation, willful omission, negligent misrepresentation, and negligent omission. So, to recap, willful misrepresentation. What's going on here? The words misrepresentation means that you represented some information to someone. You represented it, you said it, or you wrote it and sent it to them. And you did it incorrectly. That's why the prefix mis, M-I-S, is in front of the word representation. So misrepresented. If I told you that the sky is green, then I misrepresented to you the color of the sky. Told you the wrong thing. And so if I did that in order to trick you, that would be called willful misrepresentation. I would have told you the wrong thing because I wanted you to believe the wrong thing. Now, how is that different than negligent misrepresentation? Maybe I'm colorblind, right? Maybe I look at the sky and somehow to me it looks green. And so I tell you, oh, the sky is green. Well, I told you the wrong thing, but I did it because I didn't know any better. Now, if I am a professional hired by you to help you figure out things like what color is the sky, then I should probably go consult other professionals to make sure that I'm telling you the right information. So if I'm negligently misrepresenting something to you, I should have checked to be sure before I told you the information. So I'm still guilty of something. I'm guilty of negligent misrepresentation. I told you or I wrote to you the wrong information, and I did it without checking to be sure that it was correct. So I'm still in trouble. Do you see? Does that make sense? So willful misrepresentation versus negligent misrepresentation. Either I did it on purpose because I wanted you to believe the wrong thing, or I did it negligently, meaning without checking to be sure that I'm right. Let's apply it to a real estate scenario. You ask me as we're looking at a house, you say, hey, am I allowed to operate my own home-based business if I live in this neighborhood? And let's just say that I want to hurry up and sell that house to you, and I don't care if I'm giving you the right information. And I happen to know for a fact that you cannot operate a business out of that house in that neighborhood. I could say to you, yes, sure, you can do whatever you want here, no problem. What am I guilty of? Well, I told you the wrong information. I could have either spoken it to you one-on-one, face-to-face, or I could have texted it to you or emailed it to you. Doesn't matter. It's all misrepresentation, whether you speak it or you write it. And then I also did it how? I did it willfully, because I didn't care that it was a lie. I told it to you anyway, and I knew that it was a lie, but I told it to you anyway. Why would somebody do that? Well, sometimes people get busy. Sometimes people just get careless. And maybe in this situation, I know that I'm retiring next week and it's the last house I'm going to be selling, and I just want to hurry up and try to make a quick commission. And so I just tell you whatever I need to tell you for you to just sign the papers and go ahead and buy the house. Now, that would be very foolish of me, right? That's not going to be something I get away with. But I'm just giving you an example of maybe how that could pop up. Now, that would be willful misrepresentation. What would make that scenario negligent misrepresentation? You've asked me, can I operate a home-based business out of this property when I live in this neighborhood? I tell you that you can. Yes, sure you can. But it's not because I know that it's not true. I'm not trying to lie to you. I'm just lazy. I just want you to do whatever you need to do to hurry up and sign the papers. And so I don't bother to check to be sure if that's right information. That would be negligent misrepresentation. I told you the wrong thing and I did it carelessly. without double checking to be sure I'm right. I didn't want you to believe the wrong thing. I didn't want to tell you the wrong thing, but I also didn't do my proper broker duties and make sure that I was giving you correct info. Now that is misrepresentation, both willful and negligent. Let's talk about the other one, omission. We have two versions of omission, willful omission and negligent omission. What is omission compared to misrepresentation? Well, misrepresentation was me telling you the wrong thing. Omission is me just not saying anything about it at all. If you and I were walking down the street together on the sidewalk, and there was like a manhole cover just up ahead, and you weren't paying attention, and I saw that manhole cover was off and there was a big hole in the sidewalk, and you were about to walk into it in 5 more steps, but you're looking at something else and you're not paying attention, would I be guilty of anything if I just kept my mouth shut and let you walk on into and fall in that hole? That would be a pretty bad thing for me to do, right? I would have not spoken up. I didn't say something to you. I did not represent anything to you at all. I just left it out, and I left it out at the wrong possible time so that you ended up getting hurt. That is omission. Omission is not saying something when you should have. Let me say that again. Omission is when you should have said something, but you didn't. So there's two kinds of omission. Either you didn't say something and you purposely did not say something, like our walking down the sidewalk concept. I just wanted to laugh at you for falling in a hole. That's a terrible thing for me to do. That would be willful omission. On purpose, I knew better. I knew that you were going to fall in that hole, but I didn't tell you that the hole was there. I did it on purpose to not tell you, and I just didn't speak up at all. Willful omission. What if you hired me because maybe you have a vision problem, maybe you're legally blind, and you hired me to be your seeing eye person, just to kind of hold my arm and walk around the busy traffic through the city and make sure that you get somewhere safely. Now, what if that's what we're doing? We're walking down the sidewalk. I am so busy talking to you that I'm not looking up ahead, and I don't notice the hole in the sidewalk, and I allow you to fall in it. I didn't do it on purpose. It's just that I wasn't doing my job. I wasn't paying attention, which is exactly what you hired me to do. You hired me to pay attention and keep you safe, keep you from running into obstacles, falling into holes, but I didn't do it correctly. I was looking around at other things, other people. I was distracted. I was not taking care of you. And by letting you fall in that hole, that I was guilty of negligent omission. I left out telling you that the hole was coming up, and I did it because I was negligent or lazy or not doing my best to take care of you. I didn't do it on purpose. I did it because I was slack or lazy. Let's apply that to real estate. Let me think. And this is where this gets confusing. So I totally understand why this has been a question. We had a fellow classmate ask this question, so I wanted to give all of you the answer. So here it is. Let's say you are showing property to a buyer, and let's say it's a property that you showed before to some other person. You showed it to a buyer last week. Now you're showing it to a new buyer, different person. Well, when you showed it last week, you talked to the listing agent and you found out that the basement flooded. The basement tends to flood when it rains more than 2 days in a row. So you knew this about this property. Well, now that you're dealing with this latest buyer, you have some information that you know for sure You've been told that the basement floods after 2 straight days of rain. If I did not tell you that the basement flooded after 2 straight days of rain, and I did it in order for you just to hurry up, and you like everything else about the house, I just want you to hurry up and make a decision, and I don't want you to rule out that house because of the basement flooding. That would be willful omission. It's omission because I did not tell you that the basement floods, although I knew. I omitted it. I should have said something. I should have spoken up. Just like I should have told you about the manhole cover being uncovered, the manhole being uncovered. In this case, I know it floods. I should tell you that, but I don't. Well, that is that is omission because I left something out and I did it willfully. Willful misrepresentation on purpose. I did not speak up when I should have. On the other hand, what if the seller of that same property actually filled out the property disclosure properly? They did it the way they should, and on the property disclosure, they told everybody, they wrote it, that, oh, just FYI, the basement floods after 2 straight days of rain. It's in the paperwork. But when I show you the property, I don't bother to look at the disclosure forms. And so I don't even mention that the basement floods, and I don't even know myself. But the reason I don't know, and therefore the reason I don't mention it to you, is because I didn't do my work. I didn't fulfill my responsibility to look into all of the disclosures and make sure that property and all of its faults are made known to you. So in that way, I have committed negligent omission. I omitted the information, didn't tell you anything about it, and I did it because I was lazy or slack or didn't bother to fulfill my required agency responsibilities. So, real quick recap. Willful misrepresentation is essentially a lie. You told them a lie. You did it on purpose to defraud them, to fool them. You said something to them to trick them. Negligent misrepresentation is you told them the wrong thing, not necessarily to hurt them, but just because you didn't bother to correct it and figure out what the right thing was. So you just made something up and told them something out of negligence. And then we have willful omission, which means on purpose, you did not share information with them. You left it out. You kept your mouth shut when you should have spoken up. And then the fourth one, last one, negligent omission. You left out some information because you were lazy, you were slack, you didn't bother to look it up. And again, to be fair, with negligent omission, you may not know that information either, but it's on your shoulders. It's in your responsibilities to go find it out, to share it with them. And so you're guilty of negligent omission. Hope that helps. Let me know if it's tough to get your head around. It does take a minute to kind of let that absorb. So just reach out to me as your classmate did and let me know of any questions you have, and I'll do my best to get it cleared up. Have a great weekend.